Alright, hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Sammy, and this is my stream theory playthrough of Dark Souls, where, of course, I will provide commentary and analysis on the game as I play through it. So yeah, welcome back. It's been a while since I last played, so I want to first off mention. Well, first off, yeah, apologize for being a while. It's been about over maybe a week and a half since I last did an episode of my run through of Dark Souls here. So it's mainly because I consider streaming still more of a casual thing for me. It's a hobby. So with that in mind, it's still going to be not something I can do necessarily consistently. There's going to be sometimes when I just can't make time for it, and I really enjoy streaming, so I was pretty upset that I couldn't do it any time last week, but I am glad to be back and continuing on into Lucia, which is where I am currently. Last time I did beat the Knight Artorias and delved a little bit further into this township, and probably continue on more today. But first I want to go back a little bit because there's a few things I want to check out that should appear here. First of all, this character here is now populated or has now appeared. I think you have to, in order to see her, you have to well, beat Artorias for one, because this is where you fight him, and then you have to just reload the game, and then she appears here. So, before I continue forward, I just want to make sure that I'm actually continuing on here. Make sure the chat is up and running and functional. Let's do a sound check. So, before we get into some important details that potential to be missed, I want to make sure everything is going fine. Alright, sound check looks good. So let's talk to this character.
You, is that not the soul of the man who fell on this spot? He was a dear friend. I wish to pay proper respect with that soul. Would you be willing to part with it?
Yes, he's talking about the soul of Artorias, who we beat. We can use boss souls to cash in for a huge amount of souls, which you can use to level up, but we have plenty of other boss souls. It's okay to let go of one. Another use for boss souls is to turn them into specific weapons, like really special weapons. But again, it's just one soul. I can part with it for story reasons. I like learning a bit more. So yeah.
Thank you. You are very kind. Please take this. I no longer need it.
And we do get something out of it. We do get specific, it's like some sort of dagger.
May the Lord guide thee.
A couple of daggers, rather. We actually find out,
May the Lord guide.
Okay, she doesn't say any more. So, as far as I know, just from based on this, she was just a friend of Artorias. But delving into the lore, that I've researched before, learning mostly from the YouTuber VatiVidya, who has delved into all the information, looked at every item in the game, and has kind of become a knowledge base, so to speak, of the Dark Souls lore. If you watch his videos on YouTube, it's VatiVidya. He informed that she is one of the Knights of the Lord Gwyn, along with Artorias and Ornstein, as well as another character that we have not met yet. So maybe I should hold off on that. We'll see that character later on. But they were 4 of the high-level knights of the Lord Gwyn, and things that didn't work out for Ornstein. Ended up fighting him earlier, and Artorias turned mad, but she's like one who still has her sanity even after all this time, which is pretty amazing. She's also it's worth noting that she is one of the positive, female figures in the game. Although it's worth, even though she has really no noticeable role in the story. As you see, like the dialogue that I saw with her, there was basically the impact that we see, and there's not much more to do. If we want, we can actually fight her and then gain more items that way. But besides that, she has no real point in the story. So this guy is actually. With that said, I'm waiting here to finish. This guy was the guy who invaded, the NPC invader, in the last part of my stream, and I'll talk to him now.
You.
after he invaded, we defeated him.
Some nerve, or are you just thick? Fine then. What is it that you need?
Yeah, he's still accommodating. We can still
Did you really slay Knight Artorias?
buy stuff from him if
I'd
we want.
heard the Abyss found him first, but even still, that's absolutely treacherous. Yes, magnificently so. Believe it or not, Ulysses has brought the Abyss upon itself, fooled by that toothy serpent. They upturned the grave of primeval man and incited his ornery wrath. What could they have been thinking? Ah, to you and I, it's all ancient history. You have to ask yourself, does it really matter?
I'm really glad that we came back to talk to him, because we learned a little bit more about what happened here, the world, and how it relates to everything else. The mention of that toothy serpent is probably a character that we probably know. I'd have to probably check one of Vatividya's videos again, just to make sure I know who he's talking about. Again, I'm not really focused on lore analysis in my stuff. You can go to like Vatividya or other streamers, Epic Name Bro, not streamers, YouTubers, like Epic Name Bro. They are much better lore keepers of the game. I'm here just to analyze more of the game as a whole. Did you say anything else?
I've had enough of you.
Not really. So that's a good point to come across. Is we once again see how important it is to return to characters that we've already spoken to. They do have more stuff to say, especially. It's worthwhile to talk to characters after significant events have happened, because usually they do have some new things to say. We've seen that many different times earlier on, like that the knight that we saw in the very beginning of the game. He had new dialogue to say as we went forward, and as well as like Kingseeker Frampt, he has new dialogue. And this is just another example of how important it is to return to characters. It is important as long as you care about the story and learning more about the world and lore. I don't think he really has anything to sell. I mean, nothing that I really need. But it's good to know what he has.
I'll be seeing you if you survive your travels.
So while we're here, because we're going to delve further in that direction, I think it's worth pointing out a little bit more about this area. Like, up until now, we've just kind of seen that this area has, been a little familiar compared to earlier areas. There was the Dark Forest that we went through much earlier in the game. This does seem very familiar. Particularly the giants that walk around, and just the general layout of the land does strike a definite familiarity to that Dark Forest. And that's not necessarily a coincidence. And now that we have beat Artorias and seen enough of the area here, we can start to see that it's familiar because it is basically the same area. I mean, if you look over here, this looks just like this bridge here leading over into that area beyond. It looks very similar to the way the outside of the boss area for the Great Wolf Sif, Grey Wolf Sif. Anyhow, Sif. The edge of the forest there was like this decline into this bridge, and across the bridge led right to a sort of, well, it was the boss arena, but it was also a sort of gravestone, a large gravestone with a sword and many other grave markers. As we can see here, this also bears some similar looking features to that area. So I think it's reasonable to conclude that this area is probably the same place as that, the same general location, but separated by time. And of course we know that Sif carried the ring. This is delving a little bit into the lore, a little bit more into the lore. Not necessarily need to go, but it also is related to just the general world building and the level design that I do want to look at. So this ring symbolizes Knight Artorias' covenant with the Beast of the Abyss. It's where, like, Artorias himself can traverse the Abyss. So we know Sif, because he drops this item when you beat him, is directly related to Artorias. And if we can make that connection, then we probably can deduce that that large monument we saw that Sif was guarding was the monument to Artorias himself, and that when he died, he was probably brought to this cemetery, or we can assume to be a sort of cemetery, and then because of the nature of his status as a warrior, he was given like this giant monument, and that monument was the only thing that survived the passing of time. I'm not sure if we know exactly how much time it lies in between where we are now in Ulasil and where we are in the game proper in Lordran. I think that masked guy who invaded us, he might have said it was hundreds of years or thousands of years across time, because he also comes from the same time that we do. He has traversed into Ulasil just like we have. So why I bring that up, why I talk about similarities of the layout of the world, is that it's just something that the game doesn't really knock you over the head. I mean, the biggest clue that we have that that these two places are probably the same is the dialogue that we get from this guy, is that it is separated by time, but not necessarily space. It is the same general space. But beyond that, we're basically allowed to deduce for ourselves that these are the same locations from all these various clues that kind of converge together. And depending on how much you actually want to... Yeah, she's gone now. After we do her dialogue, that's it. She moves on. There's also something related to this character that we saw in that monument that Sif was guarding. I think I have that that item. I'm not sure. Yeah, one of the special rings granted to the 4 Knights of Gwyn. The Hornet Ring belongs to the Lord's Blade. I don't know if that's Ciaran or Ciaran. By boosting critical attacks, its wearer can annihilate foes as Ciaran's dagger laid waste to Lord Gwyn's enemies. So we know the name of that knight of Lord Gwyn. Now we don't necessarily know that this is the same character being talked about by the ring as the character we saw here, we would have to delve further into the lore, probably by looking at the daggers that she gave us. I don't know if we should do that. Okay, a dark silver dagger used by the Lord's Blade, Kiaran or Ciaran. So, okay, by looking at the descriptions of the items that she gives us herself, we can deduce that that character was one of Lord Gwyn's knights, and she was a friend of Artorias's, and that's by making that connection to the Hornet Ring that we got in the monument that Sif was guarding, we can get one more clue as to the connection between this world and that one, and between the characters here and the monument that we saw with Sif as well. We can like basically piece these things together and figure out much more about the story than is readily apparent if we're willing to look to it. So I'd probably say that that night, she then, because of her friendship to Artorias, she probably visited the monument to Artorias many times, and then likely died there in the future later on here. And that's where her ring lays to rest. We actually pick up in the future, or rather, it is our past. It's just one of those, one of the great things about playing a game like this is how it doesn't necessarily beat you over the head with this lore. How you can, if you do have an interest in it, you can find all these clues and piece it together and start to gain an understanding of the world around you. And in this case, it's even better because of how you can just look at the general look of the world and see that striking resemblance to what you've already experienced in Lordran, and we can make that connection that way. So there's all these different aspects, not just it's not just gathering items and then reading item descriptions. It's also storytelling via the world, via the people you talk to. Yeah, that's just one of my favorite things about Dark Souls. I think I've already discussed something similar earlier on about how the game delivers its lore and how you can discover it on your own. I mean, you can decide to care as much or as little as you want about it. You can just blaze through the game, finding enemies, and gain a totally different experience that way. Still find some enjoyment. So, okay, make sure I can kill that caster before I fight this other dude. And I'm not saying that blazing through the game and destroying all the enemies there you see and not really caring about item descriptions, not taking the time to pause and observe the world around you, not taking the time to revisit characters that you've talked to before to learn more about it. It's not necessarily a bad thing to do that. It is just a different playstyle. If you really don't care about learning about the lore, then the game doesn't hold you back. It doesn't force you to listen to it. You can go about it at your own pace, or not go about it at all. So I admire that. I mean, I think I've said this before about, say, about general levels that you visit in the world, and somehow you can sometimes miss entire areas, like say Ash Lake, for instance. How convoluted it is to just get to Ash Lake, because it's hidden behind two false walls you have to kind of stumble through. That it's admirable that the developers of this game are willing to take that risk that people won't even see that content, that's part of the story. Okay, so almost defeated this guy, but you know, it's not really a big deal. It won't take me that long to get back to this area. It's mostly because I wanted to discuss that portion of the world, and because that's that portion of the area with the forest and Artorias and all those little clues. Because we're moving on beyond that, I want to be able to discuss the similarities and how it relates to the discover, the ability to just to discover the lore of the game at your own pace before I go on too far, and we don't return. You know, while it's still relevant, I guess I want to say. So again, the point I was trying to make with the developers, it's admirable when they make a lot of story, a lot of the world that is essentially optional. Even though it takes them a lot of time to make it, it allows you to play it at your own pace. It is considerate of the player more than their work. Like the developers of the game and the game itself, I would say, values the player's experience over the developer's own hard work. Like I feel like developers' resources and hard work, when they force you into seeing content, it's a sign that, you know, they value their resources more than the player's experience. That's not necessarily all that great. It's a different style of telling story to the player, telling narrative, but you know, it's not necessarily terrible in its own right. But when done improperly, it can get very tedious. You can get bogged down by forced storytelling. Like, you really feel like games like that really feel like they are trying to pin you down and then force information down your throat when you don't necessarily want it. So I'm glad there are games like this, developers that are willing to recognize that some players don't want to make the effort to discover that story. So it's this thing with the bridge again. We have this item that can deflect magic, dark magic at least. It's very effective at getting the bridge. What I don't like here is that I had to use 2 flasks to get across, or get to this point. So that's not that great. This probably means I'm going to die pretty soon. Now these enemies are doing a fair amount of damage to me, so I don't really like. But yeah, I think if we just proceed with caution, we can delve further. So I think I went as far as here, and I kind of rushed into this area a bit and got totally overwhelmed. But I think if I just use what I've learned about the game before, and it's just to approach a new area with caution, try to look all the way around, see if there are any other ways to approach this. Okay, so yeah, I probably got wrecked by these enemies here last time. I think that might be the case. So if I keep them in mind, I don't think I can actually jump down. It's not letting me do that. So I should probably... best recourse is to immediately run over there and try to get at these guys before they kill me. Okay. So now those guys won't swarm me. Can probably get over there. Item over here. Nice to see. Oh wow. Where'd that guy come from? From above, I guess. Alright, let's get these guys. Approach with caution, you know, try to... Oh, okay, that guy was just one of those two there. Right, so this one's a problem because I want to get that magic user first. And... you know, not die. Get that magic user and then not die. Okay, so... already down to one flask, which I don't like. Might have to just call it a wash, but we'll try to get as far as possible here, get as much items, and then eventually I will get more efficient at approaching the area. The first time is always going to be a little rough. So I think I should probably just see if I can rush. Ah, got me. Get behind here. Try not to die. Alright, that was good. Good of me to not die. At least only the caster. Oh wow, that's a sort of a poison spell, I guess. Can kind of guess I'm being poisoned here. Okay, quickly go in. There we go. Already out of flasks, but let's see if we can like get this item, for instance, before we die. So we can actually get going over here, which I believe is the way forward, but you know, I'm always down for exploration. I favor exploration over just heading to my next objective. So I think what I want to do is head up these stairs and explore this area more. Before I move forward. Okay, so keep the caution going. Especially since I have no flasks, I'm going to continue to approach the area. Slowly. So if you notice this whole township that we're in, the Ulusil township, bears another striking resemblance to the sort of buildings in those lower areas to, say, when we were in Undead Burg and we were in Firelink Shrine, down here, generally down below, we would see buildings that look a lot like this. So I would say this township probably shares a border with Lordran, especially since it's so close to the Dark Forest. And these cities probably overlap as well. Okay, so looks like we can actually jump down over there. There's also a way to go over here. Definitely we'll check that out. Fog wall ahead, okay. Okay, so that is definitely a clue. We've heard that once before. That's this noise, and we only got one clue regarding it, and that was fairly convoluted in and of itself to try and figure out. But if you already know the answer, it's not that difficult. So this is another one of those shine the light on the wall puzzles that we only really see here in Ulusil. Let's equip that, and There we go. So that sound, we should be conditioned to use a lantern, use light to open that false wall. Yeah, again, only in this area does it have false walls like this. Everywhere else in the game, when there's a false wall, all you have to do is just hit it or roll through it. But here, these are special, so it's like it's trying to teach us a new thing. But you know, a sound cue, and we have to make sure we'd only be able to learn about this if we actually get to that shortcut. Not that shortcut, that hint in the previous incarnation of that wall. So I don't need this lantern anymore, I think. I'll equip it. Okay, so always check for mimics here, so okay, it's a real chest, that's good. Red Titanite, that's nice. If actually need red Titanite. I don't think there's anything more over here. I wonder if when we were down here, we could probably get a peek at this area if we were actually, you know, inclined to look up. People who, you know, observe their surroundings a little bit more, are probably rewarded more by this area's design. The fact that you can get a peek at this room, you might even be able to see this chest and like, oh yeah, there's, you know, in the back of your mind, just remember that there's a chest, and the game itself then rewards continued exploration. So, I don't know, this message says fog wall ahead, but I think I actually want to leave a different message. Yeah, just illusory wall ahead right here. Geography? Not sure. Yeah, illusory wall. Okay, that works. Okay, so let's check out this area since I'm done here. Probably just need to roll in there, no problem. Okay, there's a chest, but I figure there's probably some more enemies lurking in here. Let's clear out the place a bit. Okay. So as before, ah yes, Mimic. I am prepared for you, Mimic. Crest key. Interesting. The grooves of the crest are enchanted, the door sealed with a powerful spell. Okay, so we have a key, so keep that in mind. Normally with this game, you probably find a locked door first, and then you need to remember to look for a key. Here, we've already found the key, so I'm not even really sure if we will remember to... Okay, so this just leads back here. In that case, I'll just go around because I wasn't quite done exploring. Okay, so not that way, let's go this way. See, there's a ladder here. Wonder how we can get that item? This leads back down that way. Alright, let's check out this ladder then. Aha, here we go. And that's all there is here. Dark fog, okay. Dark fog is another magic spell that it's not really relevant to my build, but it's always good to have more stuff. And if I so choose, I can always just cash it in for souls. So I've gone pretty far. No flasks, so I'm kind of worried here. This, I think I've learned that these are usually around areas with shortcuts, as they've been placed like this around the previous shortcut. So I'm thinking that, yes, here we go. This is looks like a shortcut back. It's really great that I continue to go forward instead of, say, returning back to the bonfire just to get health, because now I've actually found this shortcut here, and I can skip that entire area. Skip that entire, run. If I ever die, turn right back here. Always great. I love finding shortcuts like that. This one we've kind of seen before. Started to learn that the way shortcuts work in general in this Ulysseal portion of the game is that we see these like levers, and then we have to activate them from the other side. Oh, was not dead. That could have gone badly for me. So, well, yeah, basically when we see these levers, the game does, I think, a decent job of, giving us that hint that there's a shortcut here, and then we have to keep in mind later on we should probably look for the other end of this, so that we can find a quick way back to the bonfire. And here we go. So now, 5 flasks. We can continue on with this portion of the game. We totally skipped that room there. All right, so this actually looks like a bit of trouble. Wonder if you can see off in the distance 2 casters. It's gonna be kind of tough. Well, I can see another one there. All right, so if they're going to attack first, I'm going to let them attack first. Alright, hopefully I can defeat these guys. No muss, no fuss. We're already getting hit by those. Those are also very difficult to dodge. Probably get behind this pillar here. Fight these dudes. Alright, let's get behind here. Oh crap, okay. I wanted to explore a little bit more, see if there are any more enemies in this area before I take on those magic users. I think I saw that there weren't any more dudes there. Alright, so thankfully because of that shortcut, should not be too difficult. Turn. So these shortcuts are always show how the world kind of twists on itself, but by now it's like it's a trick that the game has used a lot. So we feel kind of, or at least I feel a little bit less amazed by it than before, even though every instance of it is kind of a feat of spatial design, in essence, of level design. The way they are able to actually make a path that twists back, and it's also not just a twisting path, but one that goes vertically and horizontally. Like, it uses a full 3D space. It's not just, say, on a flat surface, a U-turn back to where you came. Like, it delves deep and then twists back so that that shortcut area is directly below, and then you can return back that way. As I say, nothing is faked. It's all, the fact that it's all thoroughly designed. It just shows, it just makes the world more believable and impressive. I'm sure other games might say, ah man, that's gonna be tough. that's gonna be tough to time that silver pendant use, especially since they're so far away. So yeah, I lost the retrieval there. That's a shame. However, on the other hand, I'm almost not all that concerned about losing souls anymore, since I am such a high level in general, and I'm fairly well equipped. Like, I've upgraded all my armor, and on top of that, most of my stats are min-maxed in a way that, my build is very effective at dealing damage and taking damage, rather than, say, putting points across a variety of strats, like spreading those level points too thin, and then you're not really good in any stat, to the point where basically have wasted level up points. But because I think I've honed my stats well enough at level 73, I'm not, I'm already well equipped to take on basically the rest of the game. Let's get this retrieval. Yeah, retrieval. I would have liked my previous retrieval. That would have been a whole lot better. But yeah, I messed that up and I got punished for it. I hate when we end up doing damage at the same time. Kind of wish. Alright, so let's try not to screw this up this time. Head here first, take on this dude. Yeah, it's gonna be really tough. I should have done it from here, actually. I did that totally wrong. Alright. I think I want to... Alright, I got through it, but I'm not really happy with the way I approached it. It wasn't very efficient, but I think in the future, if I have to come through here again, I can probably do it well. Again, first time through an area is probably going to be less efficient as you would like. So ultimately, I would want to come through here with much less damage, taking probably no more than one flask, so, okay. See this new area here? Kind of looks ominous. See a figure off in the distance. I think this might be a sort of another boss battle, perhaps. No fog wall, but this might not necessarily a boss battle. I would say probably like a mini boss, essentially. Okay, so right now I'm just kind of getting a feel for the attacks of this enemy. Nothing like I've ever seen before, that's for sure. Really weird looking enemy. It's like he has a lot of range to him, so I want to keep my distance, wait for him to commit to a large attack. Which is often what you want to do with most enemies in Dark Souls anyway. And then, just kind of pick at him. Alright, he actually got to me because I dodged in the wrong direction. This guy will probably want to dodge away from him as much as possible. Oof, okay. No flask, but I managed to get him. I love it when the game throws a unique enemy at you, even when or especially when it's not a boss, like just a regular, seemingly a regular enemy in the world that is totally unique and of its own. It is essentially this game's way of throwing a mini boss at you. No fog wall, but there is only one of these dudes in the world. I think we can compare this fight to, say, Havel, much earlier in the game, fighting that large armored dude with the huge hammer. Or was it a hammer? No, well, yeah, it's kind of a bludgeoning hammer. It's actually a dragon's tooth that he's using as a hammer. Yeah, this enemy very similar. Well, not in design to Havel, but the way the game treats it as a completely unique enemy that you only fight once in the game, and that's not a boss battle. Not too many of those in the game, so I always appreciate those little touches. And there's probably not too many of them for good reason, because, you know, it takes... Oh, wow, okay. Again, it takes time to develop those enemies, and it's really nice when it's nice that we get unique enemies like that we only see one time and then never see them again. But again, that puts a lot of strain on the development, I'm sure. You're committing a lot of resources to enemy design that players are only going to see once. So yeah, again, I'm glad when the game does that. It throws very unique stuff at you, but I can understand why there are so few of them in the game. All right, this is a bonfire. Yay! I can refill my flasks. Very touch and go there for a second. I probably thought I might have to end up doing one more run, but no, I made it just fine. Another very dark area. I think I might want to actually pull up my lantern here. I still have it equipped. No, I don't. Alright, we can see a little bit better this time. See some stuff off in the distance there. We'll see what that means later on. Chasm of the Abyss. Alright, let's see. Can I get this dude? Yeah, okay. Gotta love Titanite. So this part of Ulasil here in this downloadable portion of the game, this add-on or expansion, this resembles the Tomb of the Giants. Now, yeah, I don't mean that it is the Tomb of the Giants, but rather the way it's designed, the way it uses the darkness, and suggests that you probably should use a ladder. I mean, not a ladder. It suggests to use a lantern to move forward, or perhaps you can, another way to play it is just to inch your way through the darkness, which is another way you could have totally done. Aw, crap, there's a caster there? Seriously? I'm telling you, that's the trouble with the dark here. Enemy is off in the distance that... Yeah, just like those skeleton archers shooting arrows at you from off in the dark. It's going to be a similar type of situation here. But we were able to deal with the Tomb of the Giants. We can deal with this, especially since we do have the lantern. I think what the idea behind this is, in the main game, they only had one area that really made use of the lantern, so, for people who actually found it, got the drop off the necromancer, so for the people who actually did use the lantern, they want to continue to use that sort of mechanic, I guess you can say. I'm not sure if mechanic is the right word for it, but it's like, hey, we want to make use of that lantern once again. Alright, so I probably want to use these like little stalagmites here to guard against that magic stuff. Oh, come on, I dodged that. Totally dodged that. Man. At least I got the retrieval. One more hit on that caster, I would have been fine. Misjudged the distance, but you know, now I know a little bit more about the area and I can deal with it. Get that item. And the way the game is designed is to allow you to kind of it works. The way the bonfires work is very similar to a checkpoint system, where if you die, you return back to the time the game checkpointed your progress. It's not really a checkpoint system, but you know it works very similarly. You know, it's meant so that you can continue to throw yourself at difficult scenarios like this. Every single time you learn a little bit more, and then you improve until you're able to take on that challenge. Then again, it's always satisfying when you're able to tackle that challenge the first time, right? So I really pride myself in tackling those things on the first try. Whenever I can. So what do I want to do here? Do I want to, like, try and bait them out? I guess so. Maybe, use my stamina a little bit more efficiently. Alright, let's try to do that again. Bait them out. Bait out these dudes. Get over here. Oh, come on. Curve right around. Alright, I'll use this thing here. That way I can get close enough to get these guys behind the pillar. Apparently not. Apparently... Oh man. Yeah, I see what happened there. I was just outside the pillar that the magic was able to hit me. And that's kind of frustrating sometimes. Like, I had a plan of attack and then I was off by just like a centimeter, and that cost me. Yeah, that sort of bonfire design where I mean, it's not really a checkpoint because of this reason, because the enemies respawn. The checkpoint system saves your progress in the world, including enemy interactions. So when you defeat an enemy in the game checkpoints, that enemy remains defeated when you return back to that checkpoint. Here, the bonfire system differs from a checkpoint system in that all the enemies do respawn. Or most of the enemies. There's some enemies that don't respawn. Alright, yeah, let's try that plan of attack again. Staying behind the pillar this time. They're right here. Best place. Man, they actually have a huge... Not a huge, really fast recovery time on their attacks. I wish my character had that that fast recovery time. Alright, so same plan. Let's get close enough to use the silver pendant. Like that. And then draw them away. Just like that. Stay behind this pillar. Make sure I don't die. Alright, that leaves just the caster now. Still throwing magic at me. So once I get this item, I can actually return back to the bonfire, heal up, get all my flasks, and then forget about this area entirely, and then continue on the path. For now, I definitely want to make sure don't just die here now. throw some magic at me. There we go. Now I can rush in. Ah, come on, definitely hit there. Must have missed her by like a centimeter. Just one little bit. And it was just magic anyway. All that effort. I guess I feel accomplished. I was able to defeat that. Again, oh hey, Joker Gaming. Let's yeah, get back to the bonfire. And I can continue on the path. With the item already in tow. Keep on. Exploring. Okay, so, okay, I discovered an enemy right here. Starting to see more of those little white lights. Probably items to pick up usually, or just another one of those little light markers to show you where the footholds are. Ah, okay, so we're seeing new things here. So these things look really familiar. And yeah, I remember first time I came through here, through this area, you know, couldn't quite place where I saw these things before. But then, you know, probably quickly see that they are bear a striking resemblance to the little humanity that you can pop to return or restore your humanity. Let's see if we actually look at the that's funny, Joker Gaming. Yeah, if look at the item description on humanities. You see they're a rare tiny black sprite found on corpses, and sprites are like these little magical entities. Alright, I guess I'm going down here. See if I can do see some more stuff. I see like a message over there. I don't know if I want to tackle this quite yet. Kind of stumbled off of that cliff. You know what? I can go ahead and try. They are likely to like overwhelm me, but give it a shot. Alright, so take on these guys one at a time. Be very careful, cautious. Kind of do this dance with them. And they do drop humanity, so that's another clue that these guys are probably like very large forms of humanity. And I kind of fell in headlong into this area that could have really messed me up. However, with a little bit of caution, I can tackle it all the same. Do I want to head down there? Oh, it looks like, yeah, there is an item down there. And this is probably, yep. Make sure I don't do that. So we're seeing a lot of things really quickly here. There's a specter of like a cat entity there. More humanity things. So once again, another thing that looks very familiar, probably difficult for anyone playing this for the first time to really remember. Remember that cat is actually something that, or a character that they probably saw earlier in the game, and that is the very same cat. She's the leader of that covenant of the forest. Another clue that this game, or this area, is related, or is the very same area as that. Alright, so this cat is leading us here. Seems like a dead end, but... Okay, let's take care of these things first. Alright, so cat led me to around here. Ah, another shortcut. Fantastic. Shortcut ahead. I'm gonna give this guy... Go ahead and give this guy a rating. Rate all useful messages. And let's check out this. Yep, that is in fact an invisible wall, or not invisible, an illusory wall. This one we don't need the lantern, fortunately. So she kind of, that little cat, led us over here. Let's see what's inside. More of these humanity creatures. It's like they're guarding something. The way these humanity things move is kind of strange. Like they're kind of sporadic. Really interesting the way they work, though. And also the way they're designed, it's really hard to actually tell their form. So you're not really sure exactly where your blade will hit them. Alright, so see here, that is actually Sif. Very small, younger version of Sif. Very and yep, getting more and more clues as to what this area is and how all these characters are related to each other. And if you haven't figured it out by now, it's probably, after seeing Sif, probably pretty darn clear that this area is like an area separated by time, but it is the same area as like that forest area in Lordran. This is Sif, earlier in Sif's life, and when we were fighting Sif, it's much larger, older version of Sif, or not Sif, Sif with an F. That yeah, is in the future, in the far future. So it seems like Sif was trapped by those humanities, and it's a little bit ironic, kind of tragic even, that we are the ones that saved Sif back in the past, and then earlier in our past, but in Sif's future, we end up having to kill Sif. Alright, so let's get this lantern back and see if we can head further here. Or maybe we probably want to unlock this shortcut first, right? Definitely a thing worth doing. Alright, so where exactly is this? Okay, yeah. It is... Aha, we're back in the... Yeah, the Royal Wood. This is the shortcut to the other portion of the Royal Wood. And of course, that is where we fought Artorias. So once again, we're seeing how, even in this expansion area that isn't in the main game, how they're still following their design philosophy. The developers of this game, rather. Still following those rules. I have to imagine that creating an entire world that loops back on itself in several different ways gotta be very difficult. You know, architecturally speaking, very difficult to design. Always appreciate that work. This is the one thing that, as a type of open world style game, that, you know, Dark Souls does world building, level design, and spatial construction. You know, in a full 3D environment, both, you know, top to bottom, left to right, not just on a flat surface. Dark Souls does it probably better than any other open world game I've seen to date. Like I said this before, a lot of open world games, they are open and can be huge and impressive, but they're largely flat. They don't really they don't usually twist on themselves all too much. And, you know, that's not necessarily noticeable when you're playing, but after playing a game like Dark Souls, now every other game that doesn't do a sort of intricately designed world just doesn't seem to compare. Okay, this is not actually the shortcut I want. I want the other shortcut. Now, I can very easily say that Dark Souls has raised the standards of how to build a world in a sort of spatial sense. How these paths should delve deep and twist on itself and allow full use of you know, a 3D space. I mean, we're in these worlds are supposedly in a three-dimensional space and not on a 2D plane, so why are so many worlds still so flat and just surface level? That's kind of the effect that Dark Souls has had on me, is that now I hold open worlds to a higher standard. I don't want them to be so surface level. I want them to use 3D space much more effectively. Okay, so now let's continue to explore a bit. I actually want to return, see if I can find my way back to that area I saw before. I kind of like fell down into a hole. Seems like there's a way down that way, yeah. This just leads to a dead end. Alright, looks like the only way forward is down. Yep, let's go that way. And I think there should be a way back. Allow me to explore what I missed. Alright, there's a way down there, way back up. Alright, item there. Okay, that is where that caster was. That was kind of sniping me before. And there's the field of humanity that we saw before. So yeah, this twists back that way. For humanity, that's pretty good. Alright, so do I want to head back that way? This actually might be a dead end that I'd want to explore. I'm not sure. And while I'm here, yeah, I'll check it out. say the main downside of this katana that I'm using is that for anything that is not like flesh and blood, it is not so effective because its main way of doing high amounts of damage is a bleed effect. And these sort of incorporeal enemies like this obviously won't have a bleed type of weakness, or rather they can't bleed, so they'll be immune to the effect, and they'll just be doing straight weapon damage. And the katana, not that great with weapon damage. Usually relies on that bleed to augment it. So when I'm fighting enemies like these that don't bleed, we get a much less effective, or we're seeing the main weakness of the katana weapon, Uji katana, or really any katana that relies on bleed. Alright, so I think that's everything that's down there. Head back this way and see if there's anything else we missed. There's that field of humanity. Maybe skirt around it this time. Alright, this is where we dropped down. Stumbled off a cliff. Almost stumbled off again. Oh yeah, there's an item there that I forgot to get, right. Yeah, I think this might actually be a better bonfire to use, the one up here. Probably quicker than the other way. Yeah, they're both fairly far off, so I think I'm gonna... In any case, I think I'm still going to use this one. Alright, so again, a lot more exploration. Still in more of discovery phase. I'm not going to have all too much analysis right at the moment, but I've already weaved in a fair bit of it. I think maybe it's better to tackle these guys from the other side rather than trap myself against the wall. Right, there's that caster there. Maybe I do want to go this way first. Take care of that caster and then fight those things. A much safer way. Alright, yeah, the caster magic user will be right up here. Oh, fell down. Alright, let's wait this out. There we go. Not too difficult when you're up close. And I think, fighting these things is a little better from this side because we have a lot more room to take them out. Poke and prod them. Okay, being very careful and cautious. Let's see. There's an item right down there. I wonder if I should take out these guys first. Probably. Again, these humanity enemies are really weird. Very difficult to gauge exactly how close you are to them, so it makes fighting kind of awkward. Like, will my weapon actually make contact? Is the question I have to be concerned about here. All right, so those guys taken care of. I will see about. Sorry, something in my. Man. Alright, continue on from here. Hopefully I don't go blind with this, irritation. Okay. Whew, okay. Get this item really quickly. Alright, it's just another carving. Assuming that since there are enemies down there, there's probably a way down. Looks like a perfect drop attack opportunity, of course. I'm kind of gonna skirt around these enemies, find a much wider spot, I think. I think I see where this. Yeah, I know where this is. And before I head further, I probably want to actually restore some of my flasks. Oh man, my eyes are actually full irritation mode here. Probably because I'm probably just concentrating too much and then not blinking. It's a problem I have sometimes. So I'm causing a lot of irritation. Whenever I look in the mirror, my eyes will be all like dry, irritated. Alright. In any case, still can continue forward. Alright, yeah, now that I've now that my eyes have just produced a ton of tears, it should be a little bit better. Okay. I think I want to, again, like I said, seems like I need to go over here. Do I want to go back last, or do maybe I use these two flasks to explore the area and then return for health regain later on. Let's see what this says. Can't take this. Can't take this eye irritation, I gotta tell you. Oof. Alright, seems a lot better now. Always look behind little corners and crevices. More humanities. Alright, let's see. Let's inch a little closer. Now that looks like a fog wall if I ever saw one. So, smelling a boss really soon. Boss of the area. But still more to explore here, so I'm going to do that really quickly. Yeah, these close quarters are a bit tricky, but probably leads to another item. Oh, here it is. White Titanite slab. Oh, so if you, I believe you need that for a divine weapon, so if you miss the one in the catacombs outside the Gravelord, I think that's another one that you might be able to use. Or you can make 2 divine weapons that way. It's interesting that there are 2 slabs. see what else is here in this general vicinity before I head off into that fog wall. In any case, I don't think I'm going to go in there just yet because I want, yeah, there's still some more items to get. And then after that, I probably end up just getting my flasks back at the bonfire. So I lost a lot of souls on my way over here from missing a couple of retrievals. It's unfortunate. Probably could have leveled up at least once before this boss battle. Good luck. Alright, so I think I'm gonna end the stream probably on this boss battle. At least 1 or 2 attempts, I would say. Do I want a bone? Yeah, let's quickly get back, refill our flasks, and then head straight for that boss. Alright, I think I'm gonna unequip lantern. I don't really need it anymore. Let's head straight for that boss. Alright, so this should be the big finale of this part. I don't know if I'll be able to beat it this part, the boss, but make a few honest attempts for as long as I can go. And then, if I don't end up beating it, it'll be the first thing I do in the next part. So here's that caster there, so I actually want to go this way, I think. Kill that magic user first. As that magic does quite a lot of damage. I don't want to use too many flasks, so right now this is like the phase in my boss encounter where I am like working out the fastest, most direct path to it. And that'll probably develop more as I make more attempts at the boss. Okay, so just head this way. I think this is basically what I want to do. Do I even need to fight these things? Probably not. Just like rush that room. Oh, you know what I want to do? I actually probably want to leave my summon sign. That's a good idea, actually. I have to figure out, like, what is the most optimal place to leave summon sign. And it's like, the best way to find out where is to actually go human, see where most people are putting their summon signs. Let's put it here. And hopefully we get a bite from somebody looking for help on this boss. I'm not sure, perhaps the best place to put this is like right outside the bonfire. That's another pretty obvious place for it, because in Dark Souls 1 you need to go human first, but you can only do it at the bonfire. Dark Souls 2 you can go human anywhere, so you can essentially put your summon sign anywhere, but since you can only go human at a bonfire in Dark Souls 1, the most likely place to put a summon sign is near a bonfire, so I'll try it here for now. If not, I'll just do an attempt on the boss. If it takes too long, nobody wants help. And then, like, say I die, I'll leave my summon sign near to the bonfire. Yeah, it seems like nobody wants help, or it's, you know, entirely possible that I'm outside the level range of most people attempting this, but yeah, probably not, maybe not. Okay, I think it's probably better. I'm gonna go ahead and do one attempt on my own, straight up, and then try and go ahead. After one attempt, I will go ahead and try to do co-op again, help somebody else. It's one thing I've been really unable to do in many of my recent boss battles is, you know, do some co-op, help somebody else with their bosses. I don't know, because it's possible that, as I think I described in the last part, how talking about online communities and how they dwindle over time. And this game is roughly 4 years old now. There's a fairly good chance that. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to try and learn how to deal with this guy. And that's not how to do it. But yeah, Manus, Father of the Abyss, is the big boss of this area. Looks pretty tough. So, okay, if I put my summon sign like right here, perhaps what'll happen is that somebody will summon me on the way to the boss. Let's just go as quickly as possible, ignore everybody. Except maybe that magic caster, I won't ignore that one. Oh, I wanted to fall down there, but not right there. A little bit further, because of that little stalagmite. Ah, stalagmites! Okay, let's leave that. Summon silence again. I didn't really lose too many souls. Again, the major soul loss was earlier on. I'm already over that. Alright, so after this stalagmite, I drop down. After, not before. Hopefully, on one of these journeys to the boss, somebody will summon me in. That's my hope, at least. This is exactly what I wanted to avoid. I wanted to avoid having to use a flask here for the boss. I had to use two. Shame, really, but I can. The first few attempts at the boss are more about learning. I'm probably going to die anyway, regardless of how many flasks I have. Alright, so just straight there this time. No summon sign. I wish more people were attempting the boss. Come on, someone summon me in. Summon me in, guys. Okay, so let's learn to dodge these attacks, shall we? Okay, that one seems pretty obvious. Okay, don't know what that was, but right, that attack is going to be tricky because he He forces us to lose focus on him, or to lose our target on him. To make sure you retarget him right away. Alright, once again, leave summon sign. Somebody summon. It could also be better to leave my summon sign near the shortcut. That could be another possible way to do it, as people could be going in from that direction instead of this path that I'm taking. Oh, I definitely did a drop attack on that. Come on, just have to waste a flask on this now. Maybe I'm just rushing too much here. Alright, so one more attempt. One of the cool things about Dark Souls is many of their bosses have such unique designs. Well, this boss, man, it really doesn't seem like anything we've fought before. It's like a really weird elongated arm. Okay. So just like take pot shots at him. I think that's the way to do it. After I successfully dodge, take pot shots. Ooh, did not successfully dodge there. That's not cool. Maybe I want to get my retrieval here. Retrieval! I think I dodged a little too early there. Seemed right. Seemed right. Okay, so I'm just again taking like these pot shots at him. Okay, seems like that one is definitely not one I want to be nearby. So. That attack, if I can successfully dodge it, seems like that one is the best one to actually heal up during. Alright, so looks like he's doing these dark magic attacks now. Who knows? Maybe I can actually beat him. Maybe not. Maybe those are famous last words. Oh, okay, get away from... Aw, nope, I'm dead. Definitely dead. Or maybe I'm not dead. Ah, man, yep, definitely dead. As I said. Not right away, delayed. One flask left. Whew, yeah, that guy's tough. So, it seems like I will need that other thing there. So maybe it's actually prudent to remove these things so I can quickly switch between them like this. So, okay, I'll try that. I should be able to block that dark magic attack with this pendant here. But I'm gonna have to learn how to use it properly. It's all dependent on timing. Did I leave my summon sign? I'm not sure if I did. Oh yeah, I did. Yep. That's definitely mine. So, okay, again, somebody summon me. If you're looking for help for a boss, there it is. Help for this Manus boss specifically. Okay, I'm gonna head down same way, but I'm also going to maybe replace my summon sign near the shortcut area. That might be a path that some people are taking to the boss. I don't know, it seems pretty far away though. I probably shouldn't fight that thing actually. Yeah, perhaps some people will actually come this way, so put my sign here instead. But my odds of actually beating the boss, I think I can do it. I'm fairly confident, based on that last attempt. Fairly confident I can do it. This run, and maybe I can perhaps help somebody in the next part. In a later stream, I can try to help somebody with the boss, because yeah, you can. I think I've demonstrated this before, but you can totally continue to leave your summon sign and be summoned, even though you already beat the boss. Okay, so learning to dodge this guy much better. Okay. Learning best times to dodge. Okay. Totally missed that one. Crap. There we go. That is much better. Second time. Yeah, I keep doing that attack, and I know how to do it now. I know how to dodge it. Oh, I got greedy there. Okay, let's see. Magic? I think I did it too early. That one was not too early. Okay. He doesn't use that sort of slice attack too often, so I guess I didn't really learn how to dodge that one properly. Okay, so still no one taking the bite on the summon here. Still pretty confident that I can beat him. I can beat him in this part. I think I can do it. Totally think I can do it. Let's get Manus. Now, Manus is not one of the bosses I have to beat to get the Lord Souls. That is of course in the main game proper. But he is one of the big bosses in this expansion. Expansion pack of sorts for Dark Souls is Ulasil area. Yeah, I'm just not gonna deal with that guy. I can kill him, but he also damages me most of the time. So I'll just. Oh, come on, that is cheating. What? Most of the time that caster is not aware. That is why I come this way, so I can. Okay, well, down 2 flasks. Just have to deal with that. Man, not catching a break on these summons. No one wants to summon. Seems like nobody is attempting the boss who also wants to summon help. I have to imagine if I wait long enough, like 5 to 10 minutes, somebody will come along and fight. I think that was a little too early. Normally that... There we go, that's a lot better. Now that overhand swing, doing a little bit better fighting that one. Retrieval! Okay. Okay, so that one's more of a underhanded swing up. Okay. Okay, wasn't sure what that was, but looks like I dodged it properly. Alright, dodge back. Also perfect time to actually heal up. Ah, man. Guess too late on that one. Crap. Gotta get the timing on the pendant thing. Yep, okay. I think that fight, having two more flasks would have helped a lot. Would have been able to heal up back to what I needed. So still getting no summon. Alright, I think... hopefully this will be the one. This will be the run. Let's just not deal with that one. That humanity creature. There we go. That's how I want to deal with it. Alright, so I actually can't stream a whole lot longer, so I'm really hoping that this is going to be the one. And that'll be a perfect end to this part. Wish me luck on this one. Okay. To a pretty good start. A little slow on that one, unfortunately. Come on, I definitely did that one right. Dang it. Not learning my lesson. Timing. I'm taking way too much damage here. Way more damage than I would like. Let me get my retrieval. It's over there. Retrieval! By the way, losing your focus on the boss like that, probably not wise. Especially against an enemy that can destroy you from really far away. Oh man, seemed like I dodged that, but still took a lot of damage for some reason. Again, no summon. It takes a good, like, 30 seconds to a minute. You'd think somebody during that time would come along and see the summon sign. Especially by now, especially after several different attempts. You know, there's probably a faster way to do this, like maybe totally ignoring the caster as well. The magic caster. Just like saying, yeah, whatever, just go right past it. I think there's a really high probability that I would get hit, though. That's what I'm worried about. Because, yeah, this dark magic does quite a lot to me. Probably because my armor has very low defense to the dark magic, specifically. I say the dark magic because I don't really, it's not really called dark magic, it's called something else. I'm not really sure. Not dark. It's dark something, I think. Anyhow, whatever it is, I am not really well equipped to. Will I do the timing right? That was a very seldom used move, and I'm not prepared for. Oh no! Crap. Probably go repair my weapon. What the heck is this retrieval? Where'd it go? There it is. Retrieval! Alright, so I'm thinking I actually just bone out of here. Fortunately... Alright, I'll wait for him to do, like, his really crazy attack. Or just die. That one. That one's the one I was talking about. Before my items get destroyed. Better, I guess, to just warp out or die out of here. I can repair my stuff. I'm being punished for, you know, not keeping track of that. Should have kept track of that. Yeah, see now, because I died, I have no souls, so I have to actually pop an item just for the sole purpose of repairing my stuff. Not a huge deal, but something to keep in mind. Yeah, armor 2. Might as well do, yeah. No, not that one. Heck. Okay. Let's try this again. Now with actually effective weapons, or repaired rather. They are pretty effective, but it always seems to happen during a boss battle, doesn't it? I always seem to get on the verge of breaking my equipment during a boss battle. It doesn't happen like during any random encounter that could have happened. Alright, it's probably have to be my final run here. Again, hopefully this will be the one. Alright, come on. Keep on going. This is a really cool boss battle. Again, like I said, boss battles in this game are among my favorite in the entire... Or the boss battles in this area of Ulasil. Artorias, the Guardian, the Manticore that you fight in the beginning, and now Manus. All excellently designed bosses. And definitely enjoy doing this, but we're running out of time. Try to make this quick. Whether I do this or not, this will be my last attempt today. So hopefully I just do it right first. Do it right this time. Okay, it's a good start. Dodging that correctly. Yeah, anytime I can get 2 hits in is always pretty darn good. Okay, come on. Leave a... There we go, that's perfect. I'm probably being greedy by healing right then. Very much like to heal here. If I can find a good opportunity, I will probably take it. There we go, that's a good one. Now I'll switch back to this item, as I probably will not... Aw, crap. Aw, man. You have to react to that really, really quickly. Get the heck back away from them. Retrieval! Hey, I got it. Got the retrieval, guys. Whew, okay. Health is pretty far down. But yeah, you never know. Huh. I'm not sure why I couldn't dodge that one there. That was really weird. No, not that. I want to heal. That sucks. There we go, that's better. Okay. Ah, man. Did it way too early at that point. Way too early. Okay, no more heals, so I'll just leave it on this magic thing. Hey, I did it right this time. Perfect timing on that. Alright. This one I just need to move. Don't really have to use that. Alright, not much more. Got him. Got him. Victory achieved. And I even successfully used the silver pendant at least one time during the battle correctly. Alright, so here we see familiar face, damsel in distress, so to speak. Yeah, as great as Dark Souls is, you know, it's still gonna have those tired and old tropes sometimes. Alright, she doesn't say anything. We did save her though. And here's a bonfire. Much like the Lord Soul bosses, this is like you have to just warp out of here. So I'll just warp back to Lucille Township. And that is where we will begin the next segment of my playthrough of Dark Souls. So yeah, I did beat Manus. A great way to end the segment here. A great way to end. Punctuation mark. And so yeah, if you tuned in, thank you very much for watching. We'll continue on. Still more stuff in Lucille. This is a lot of stuff to do here. There's actually one more boss to go here. So next part we will continue on heading over in that direction. But for now, if you like what you see here, just go ahead. You can watch all the archives of this Stream Theory run of Dark Souls on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/YamsterSam. You can also follow me at Twitter @YamsterSam as well. So yeah, again, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Later.